Thank you very much for having me from Damascus. Absolutely, I think that the Trump administration is dealing now with the results, not with the main reasons. Until now, the American administration paying the price, or American people paying the price of the failed policies since the last 15 years. After the newcons controlling the American administration, after the invasion into Iraq, before that Afghanistan, then for regime change in Libya, then Syria. And I think that the Syrian, generally, they are not a threat for national security of United States. We are not Wahhabi, we are not supporting Wahhabi ideology. So I think that there is a misunderstanding. So now Trump is facing the results of the failed policies of the United States for the last 15 years, is first. Secondly, I think United States should be decided whether these people who are traveling to United States, whether they are immigrants really, or they have relatives, because we should differentiate a little bit between Syrians. We have community in the United States. These communities, some of them, they are in a very good position, some of them doctors, some of them businessmen, successful people, and we are not a threat for them. So when you have a pan for Syrian generally as a threat for national security of the United States, I don't think that this is the right direction. The right direction for the United States is to deal and to help how to solve the Syrian crisis, the Syrian war, first. Secondly, how to stop the exporting of international terrorism to Syria. The third point is how to stop financing of international terrorism to Syria. We are not that community who is producing not extremism, ideology of extremism or hate or violence. Opposite of that, Syria, one of the best countries in the Middle East, where is the diversity, where we can respect the values of other. We are the country of Christianity, we are the country of Islam. So I think generally now the United States is dealing with the results of bad policies, failed policies of the United States, as I mentioned that before.
Yeah. What is the reaction from the Syrian people or from the Syrian media over the past 1 week since this travel ban came out? What is the general reaction from the Syrian people? Are they angry towards this ban? Are they confused? Are they shocked?
I think from the government, I didn't listen to any reaction until now, because Syrian government is waiting for the real policies. Now we are in front of reaction from the Donald Trump administration. We should wait for that. So in Syria, they are evaluating the situation that we should wait. First of all, we don't trust a lot the American policy. Syria under American sanctions since more than 10 years and more than that. Syria in the list of the countries who are by American thinking or type of thinking that Syria is supporting terrorism. What kind of terrorism? It should be clarified. The most important thing that we are under another kind of terrorism, which is the economic sanctions, which reflecting on the level of the people. Here in Syria, there is a systematic damage of infrastructure, the level of the people. So because of that, I think the United States should correct its foreign policy, should help to make our societies, including Syria, Libya, and other countries, stable countries. And I think at that time they can stop this kind of immigration. The immigrants go to Europe or to the United States because there is here ISIS and Nusra groups, Takfiri groups here in Syria. There is a systematic destroying of electricity, water, schools, university. So because of that, I think still there is no reaction, because not a lot of Syrians going to the United States. Most of the immigrants, Syrian immigrants, they go to Turkey, Lebanon, Jordan, and some of them, yes, to the United States, but they are not a danger for national security of the United States.
In the executive order. Now, 911 is mentioned as the reason to keep certain people from entering the United States. However, certain countries, notably Saudi Arabia, is not among the list of the 7 predominantly Muslim countries. How do Syrians feel about that? That Saudi Arabia, which has been... Yes.
So absolutely, I understand you. It's something astonished for Syria. Syria historically was not. Maybe we didn't have a good relations with the United States. Our relations with the United States historically was up and down because of our political position. But we are not a threat for the United States. Opposite of that, in 2002, I think, and 4, the Syrian government cooperated with the United States in many affairs concerning Al-Qaeda and other extremist groups. So we are astonished that the source of ideology of extremism is not from Syria. It's from Wahhabi movements, and we know that Saudi Arabia, 11 of 15 and 11 of September, they are Saudi, not Syrians. So because of that, I think the Trump administration is looking for business more than for reality. I think Saudi Arabia and Qatar will pay money for the United States and will enhance many factories in the United States, especially in the concerning the military supplement to these states. So because of that, after the form between Donald Trump and the King Salman in Saudi Arabia, everything is stopped. Either they are not talking now about the JASTA law. So it means that the United States is trying to absorb more money from the Gulf states.
Finally.
While the main reasons in Syria because of the Saudi and Qatari financing of terrorism.
Finally, there have been some millions of Syrian refugees fleeing the country. I mean, the number we're talking about is like 5 million, and the majority of them actually live in neighboring countries such as Turkey, Lebanon, Jordan, Egypt, and Iraq. Now, the United States, by comparison, only hosts tens of thousands of Syrian refugees, to say the most, and right now they're still talking about extreme vetting. At the same time, the United States is also one of the forces that help fuel the civil conflict in Syria. Don't you think the United States should take a bit more responsibility in taking care of the refugees from the Syrian conflict?
I just mentioned that the United States should change its policy towards Syria. Syria is one of the secular states in the region. It's first. Secondly, it should help the Syrian people to have a stable, to fight against ISIS or other Takfiri groups. It's not only the Syrian responsibility, because we warned before, either President Bashar al-Assad warned before that this terrorism who is getting support from Turkey, Qatar, Saudi Arabia by coordinating with the United States will reacting on their societies, and now they are paying this price. So because of that, to stop this immigration inside Syria, I will tell you that there is 8 million change their permanent places from one provinces to another. Who is paying for that? Only the Syrian government. So I think to help Syria find a political solution to cooperating regional and international cooperating for fighting against ISIS and other terrorist groups, this is the main path for that. To stop immigration, it's not only Syrian efforts, or it's not only to put Syria on this list, but to face together the international terrorism, which is a danger not only for Syrian people who paid a very high price, but for European, for all societies in the world.
Will the ban, now right now the ban is frozen, right? We are waiting for the result of the Ninth Circuit Court in the United States. We don't know whether it will actually be reinstated. But if the ban successfully gets the go-ahead, how do you think that's going to affect the relationship or anti-American sentiment in Syria?
I think we are generally, historically, the Syrians not against, we don't have anti-American sentimentism. We are against a foreign policy of United States. Either I myself, I visited United States in 1998, and I had friends there, and we are looking to have good relations with the American people. But the problem that when America want to change change regime in Syria, it's not the business of America. When America wants to change the Syrian president, it's not the business of America. America not the police of the whole world. America should change its policy, and America, when United States is approaching its interests, nobody against America, but still I'm sorry to tell you that America looking to the Middle East through Israeli eyes. This is the problem of United States, not because America looking for its interests. So there is a lot of contradiction, but we are not against United States people or American people. We are either you cannot find any Syrian citizen who is a threat for United States. Most of our people, they are going to United States for studying at universities or for business, or they are actual people in the United States, and they are effective people either in Europe. But the last immigrants who went to Germany or to Europe, yes, they are not from that level of people who usually are immigrants in the United States or in the West. So I think that usually we are against American foreign policy. If America will not change, I think it will be enhancing the that America has no right to give us a lecture about human rights and about freedoms, while we can see that America is looking for its interests. It's usual that the Syrian people have the right to choose its regime, its president. Nobody has the right to interfere in our internal affairs. But we are looking for good relations with the United States. Absolutely, it's logical, but we are against, as I have told you, foreign policy of United States.
Thank you very much for joining us today from Damascus today. And that was Professor Bassam Abu Abdallah from Damascus University. You have been watching The Point here on CGTN. We'll take a short break and we'll be back right after that.